Hi beautiful souls, welcome to or welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's pick a card reading we're going to be doing is we are going to be having a look at what are your greatest strengths and what is your greatest weakness or weaknesses as well. Remembering that our weaknesses, once we're aware of them, we can then shift them for them to become strengths as well, our greatest strengths, and kind of vice versa in a way as well. Our greatest strengths can also be sometimes our greatest weakness as well. So it's pretty multifaceted, isn't it, really, when you think about it? So, but that's what we're going with today. That's the intention with this pick a card reading, is looking at and celebrating your strengths and looking at your weaknesses and kind of what's lying behind them. And we're then going to be getting a word of advice from your higher self about them as well, and anything else that you might need to know. And we'll also get you an oracle card as well. So it's been a very long time since I've done this particular reading, so I'm really looking forward to doing it for you guys. Now, as per usual, we're going to have 3 different decks of cards to choose from. You, of course, can watch all 3 readings if you wish, but I always advise that you try to just go with one particular pile. In saying that, there is no rules, of course. So if you're really drawn to 2 piles, then maybe those 2 piles are for you as well. So just go with what you feel is what I'm going to say. Remember as well, this is a very general reading, so you'll need to take the messages as they resonate for you, and that time is an illusion and energy is fluid. If you would like to get a personal reading with me to find out more things about what we're talking about in this reading, or if you've got any other queries that you want to get some insight into, you can find all my details in the description box below. So without any further ado, I'm now going to pause the video and I'm going to show you the 3 different decks of cards, the 3 different cards that you have to choose from, because you're going to choose an image and then we're going to get into the reading. Okay, let's go. So here are your 3 choices for the reading to find out what your greatest strength and weakness is. So we have the Wheel of Fortune, which is going to represent pile 1 or reading 1. We have the 10 of Pentacles, which is going to represent pile 2. And then we have the Chariot, which is going to represent pile 3 or reading 3. So what I'm going to ask you to do is just choose the picture or the image that you're most drawn to, and it will either be symbolic. We'll find out later what it kind of means. I wouldn't stress too much about picking the wrong one. I would just go with what you're most drawn to, because whatever message that you need to hear, you will get. So don't get too transfixed in it. If you need a little bit more time to pick which card is yours, I'll get you to pause the video because I am about to start the readings. Hello, for those of you who chose the Wheel of Fortune, this is your reading. We are looking at, firstly, the first set of cards we're going to be looking at are your greatest strengths. And then I'll pause the video and pull some more cards and get the cards which are going to depict your greatest weakness. So let's get straight into it. This is a really beautiful reading. So I know that some of you are hanging out to find out what this Wheel of Fortune represents or what it means in regards to this reading. So this is really, this could suggest that for you, you're a person whose greatest strength is adaptability or intuition, and whose weakness might be feeling out of control or resistant to change, is what I'm getting here. Because the themes with the Wheel of Fortune are fate, cycles, change, destiny, opportunity. So I kind of feel like you're being drawn to this card because maybe you're seeking insight into how life cycles are affecting you, or where you kind of are at a turning point. So you might be more open to discovering unexpected strengths or how to navigate challenges that feel bigger than you, if that makes sense. So you're good with adaptability, but sometimes you struggle with change, is what I'm getting here. Let me know in the feedback. Give me your feedback and comments below if you wish to. I'd love to hear what this signifies or means to you, or doesn't. All right, let's get straight into it. So we have a few major arcanas here. To start off with, we have the Nine of Pentacles clarified by the Empress. So what I'm really getting here is that one of your greatest strengths is the fact that you are so independent and self-sufficient. For a lot of you, you've accomplished a lot through being able to be really self-sufficient and independent. And you're very good at being able to nurture yourself here with the Empress. This is all about, you know, self-reliance, being paired with the ability to nurture or create abundance as well. So you can thrive on your own while also cultivating beauty, comfort, and growth around you. You know, you've got a talent for creating a stable, fruitful environment for yourself and also for others, is what I'm getting here. I feel like with the nurturing as well, I feel because it's a major arcana, this is something that you're kind of destined to do. And I also feel like nurturing yourself is something that's been a really important lesson for you to learn in this lifetime as well. So when you're in that power and when you're learning the lesson of that, it helps you to become, it's helped you to become this self-sufficient person that you are. So with the Lovers and the Queen of Swords, the Lovers is also a major arcana. So this is kind of karmic stuff for you as well. This is really saying that, you know, the Lovers is all about kind of relationships, choices, alignment, values, and harmony. And the Queen of Swords, she or he is all about clarity, discernment, communication, and intellect, mind stuff. So the interpretation of the strength here is this: your strength in this is making really thoughtful, value-driven choices in relationships and in life decisions overall. And with the Queen of Swords, it's really guided by clear thinking and honesty. So you have this really good knack of being able to navigate emotional or moral sort of complexities or challenges with both heart and mind, balancing connection with discernment. And I think that's also what's helped you with your independence. And the fact that you're also good at nurturing yourself, this comes with part of this is knowing what is best for you, choosing what is best for you as well. For some of you listening to this, you might be thinking, this doesn't make any sense to me. These don't feel like my strengths, but they really are. And maybe you're needing to know this so that you can step more into this. With the Three of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles, this is all about collaboration, teamwork, kind of skill mastery, learning from others. And with the Ace of Pentacles, that's all about new opportunities that are grounded in stability, practical beginnings, manifestation, prosperity. So this pairing really shows another one of your strengths is turning collaboration and teamwork and skill into tangible results for you. You know, you're really good at learning and working with others and manifesting ideas into real world success. And you know, you combine craftsmanship with initiative, and this really makes you, you know, this in turn with everything else makes you a really productive and reliable person in any kind of team project, or even just collaborating with family or loved ones. I'm really being drawn back to the Queen of Swords, where, yeah, you're able to see things a lot, very, very clearly. And there's a message here for some of you that more clearly than you used to. So with age and time and experience, this has been really highlighted, and you've stepped more into this with time. So overall, your strengths really seem to revolve around self-mastery, discernment, creative manifestation, and skillful collaboration. And because the Wheel of Fortune is all about cycles and change, these cards suggest that you're well equipped to navigate life's ups and downs. You know, you can be independent yet nurturing, thoughtful yet decisive, skilled yet opportunistic. And your word of advice is the Eight of Pentacles. What I'm getting here as a word of advice about your strengths are, please make sure that you, what's the best way of putting this? Please make sure that you celebrate these more than what you are. And please ensure that you know your worth is the biggest thing here as well. And that also your worth isn't always just about how much money you make. It's about the stability it brings you, and it's about the fact that it enables you to be independent and to be able to think things through more clearly. This is also saying to me as well, to some of you that please don't work too hard. So know your worth, don't work too hard, and just remember to always celebrate the small things. And appreciation and gratitude is really important. Not that I'm suggesting that you don't already have that, but, you know, more so for yourself and what you've accomplished is what I'm getting here. So these are your greatest strengths, pile one. I'm now going to pause the video and I'm going to shuffle the cards and pull out what your more weaker sides are. And we can get some advice on that as well, or a word of advice from your higher self. Okay. Hello and welcome to the second part of your reading, where we're talking about what your current weaknesses are, or your kind of shadow side, whatever you would prefer to call it. We have two major arcanas in here, so there's a lot of karmic stuff to there's a lot of big karmic lessons around trust, control and resilience with this particular group, and those themes match with the Wheel of Fortune's nature of change as well. So let's unpack these and get a flow with the story here, because we have a word of advice for you and an oracle card as well. All right, let's get into this. So The Seven of Swords clarified by the Seven of Wands. Two very interesting cards, both sevens. One's ahead. One's definitely head stuff and one's really passionate, fiery stuff. Okay. So the themes with these two cards I'm getting are defensiveness, mistrust, self-protection, strategy, and resistance. So these cards are really talking about, these two here are really talking about, let me pick them up and we can look at them a bit closer. So these two are really talking about a tendency for you to operate from a place of being very guarded with the Seven of Wands, or self-preservation. Okay, you might try to hide your true feelings or avoid vulnerability or try to outthink other people rather than just kind of trusting the process. So there's a lot of kind of control happening here as well. With the Seven of Wands clarifying the Seven of Swords, there's this pattern of feeling like you have to defend yourself or prove your worth as well. So one of your weaknesses is that there's distrust there. And whether it's of others or even of life or fate itself or yourself, you really kind of struggle to surrender, and instead of just kind of surrendering to what is, you try to over control or act from fear of being hurt or outsmarted by others. This is really heavy energy, and not only does it end up kind of hurting others, but it really hurts you as well. There's a huge thing here about not trusting people and feeling like you continually have to defend yourself. And I feel as well, sometimes in conflict, or if it's really deep conflict where you're getting very triggered, this is when kind of the big guns come out, and where you kind of say really hurtful things to defend yourself, and you'll sometimes even go as far as kind of like saying things that are quite manipulative or underhanded, or just really quite cutting and unnecessary. Sometimes I feel like some of you as well will use other people's vulnerabilities against them that they've shared with you, or if not that, just almost projecting or turning back on other people what they've shared with you as their own insecurity, which I guess is the own thing, but it's just a lot of projection going on here. A lot of like trying to save face, and that what's that saying? Cutting off your nose despite your face. The Nine of Swords and being clarified by the Five of Pentacles. The themes here are like anxiety, worry, scarcity mindset, fear of loss, isolation. So this is really the classic mental spiral of self-doubt and fear of not being enough or not having enough as well with the Five of Pentacles. So you can get really trapped in anxious thought cycles and feel really unsupported or left out by others is a big thing I'm getting here as well, which then creates this kind of loop that happens for you. And then that's your way of defending yourself when you feel triggered, when you feel like this is happening for you. So, you know, this might also come out as catastrophizing or internalizing hardship, which can make you feel powerless when things don't go your way. So this is a challenge, especially, you know, resident for a Wheel of Fortune person which you've chose the Wheel of Fortune, learning to trust life cycles. It's like you don't trust in it because of your trauma, and it makes it really difficult for you. So this is like your way of coping. But it continues to cycle and you get the same pattern. It's like you do the same thing but expect a different outcome. And that's another reason why you become so independent and that's how all of your strengths have come about. So there's beauty in that, but there's also pain, right? The Devil and the Hangman, two major arcanas here. Two very big lessons for you to learn about these weaknesses, okay? And as I always say in my readings, if you can learn what you need to from these, this can become so much smaller and so much more manageable to deal with. So the Devil clarified by the Hangman. So the themes here are attachment, control, illusion, stagnation, and surrender. So this combination, paradoxically is beautifully and painfully highlighting the push and pull between control and letting go, because the Devil is all about control and the Hangman is about letting go. So control with the Devil is, your mind controlling you, your trauma controlling you, and ego, right? Or shadow controlling you. So the Devil shows attachment, temptation, and repeating cycles. And the Hangman shows the need for a new perspective through surrender. So through surrender, you will get a new perspective. But this can be incredibly challenging for you because you've been doing this for a lifetime now, most of you, if not all of you. So another one of your weaknesses is holding on to what doesn't serve you. So whether it's habits, relationships, or limiting beliefs, because releasing control feels too vulnerable for you, even though that's the best thing for you. Because you're conditioned to be like this. This is conditioned into you. It's a way of being. It's helped you to survive this far in life, but it's also a big blocker for you from finding that true internal peace and happiness, instead of relying on others and then getting defensive and strategic and manipulative with other things when you feel left out because of the things that you kind of create suffering for yourself with. This is a pretty heavy reading, I've got to say, but it's also beautiful in that it's very insightful, and now you can know what you can do to shift these things so you don't have to keep suffering, because a lot of you spend too much time overthinking and not being present is what I'm getting here as well. Your word of advice is the Two of Pentacles. So this is really telling me to tell you that it's important to find balance and flexibility rather than swinging between two extremes of control and collapse. So you're being called to adapt gracefully to manage life choices with more rhythm and less resistance. This is really an invitation to juggle responsibilities lightly and to ride the ups and downs like the Wheel of Fortune, instead of trying to fix or resist them or control them, because that's what you've been doing for a lifetime now. So before I get to your oracle card, I'm going to bring it all together. So for this pile, for those of you who chose the Wheel of Fortune, your journey is really about learning to trust the process. Discovering that not everything must be controlled or fought. And your strengths, which were independence, discernment, skill and abundance show incredible potential, but your weaknesses reveal that fear, over control, and anxiety block the flow. So your soul's lesson really is embodied in the Wheel of Fortune, is to release resistance and find balance in the motion, as your word of advice said. So you don't have to have it all figured out. Life's rhythm will steady you if you stay flexible and trust your own balance. Your oracle card is Power of Joy, which I think is pretty, I think pretty much it is what it is what it says, right? So this is really focusing more on what is bringing you joy in your life. The joy of life, obviously, you know, there can't be darkness without light. So there's beautiful things in life, and then there's painful things in life. But this is really talking about focusing more on the joy that is in your life, and the joy that you bring yourself, and the joy that you bring others through all the beautiful strengths that you have. I do kind of feel drawn to read you the meaning as well. So if you can just give me 1 second. So it says here, to find your desired outcome, follow the path of joy. Your life's purpose is supported by the joy and passion you feel when you're thinking about or working on your purpose. The joy that you feel within relationships keeps them alive, exciting and growing. The joy that comes from your hobbies gives you extra energy. Of all the emotions, joy has the highest energy vibration. Joy has the power to remove all obstacles and attract all of your needs. Joy reminds us that we needn't suffer at all. We can fulfill our purpose, help ourselves and others, and heal through the power of joy. Beautiful. All right. Pile 1, I really hope you enjoyed your reading. Please feel very free to leave feedback and comments below, and I will see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello there, Pile 2, or for those of you who chose the 10 of Pentacles. So to let you know, where this set of cards here, we're talking about your strengths first, of course, and getting a word of advice on your strengths, and then I'm going to pause the video and we're going to shuffle the cards and have a look at your weaknesses or your shadow side. So we've got you chose the 10 of Pentacles. So this is really interesting. So with you choosing the 10 of Pentacles, what I'm really feeling here is that this is really, the themes around this are legacy, family, security, long-term success and wealth. So this choice might kind of indicate being focused on these things: stability, practical matters, and long-term achievements. And you might want this reading to explore strengths in building or maintaining security, whether that's financially, emotionally, or socially, right? So your strength could be reliability, planning, or commitment, and your weakness might be in being too rigid, or there being too much of an overemphasis on material success. But let's get into it. So to start off with, we have the Six of Wands clarified by the Hierophant. So this is really talking about one of your strengths lies in being recognized as a really good leader. So if you're not a leader, it might just be for your wisdom. Maybe some people see you as a mentor. You know, there's respect and integrity with all of this, right? So This is about your ability to lead and inspire others through integrity and example with the Hierophant and the Six of Wands, okay? So the Six of Wands is victory and public recognition, right? And the Hierophant adds like structure, tradition, and moral grounding. So together, they really suggest that you are really someone who earns respect, not just through success, but through consistency, principle, and wisdom. So you guys might be natural teachers, mentors, or community figures. People look up to you because of your steadiness and your authenticity is the biggest message I'm getting with these two cards here, which is really, really beautiful. Another strength that we have judgment clarified by the Nine of Cups. So this pairing is really, really powerful because this is a major arcana. So this shows that you have the strength to answer your calling and embrace transformation with joy and gratitude. You know how to recognize when it's time to evolve, and you do it in a way that aligns with your heart's desires. So the strength here with these particular cards is around self-awareness and emotional maturity. You have the ability to reflect, to forgive, and to release the past and move forward to what really, truly fulfills you, which is such a beautiful strength to have. You are someone who learns their lessons and then creates their own happiness instead of waiting for it. Your other greatest strength is the Seven of Swords clarified by the Three of Swords. So this is really fascinating. It shows that through your strengths, and that through your own strength, you have been able. That through your strength, you've been able to, especially with these cards here, you've been able to forge through pain with the Three of Swords. You may have experienced betrayal or heartbreak, and as a result, you've learned how to see through illusions and spot dishonesty, which comes with the Seven of Swords. So your strength really here is in your emotional intelligence and discernment. You're very good at sensing when something isn't right, and you've been able to develop pretty healthy boundaries with people. You're very resilient and wise from experience, not naive. Your word of advice is the Four of Cups. So this is just telling me to tell you to not become too comfortable or complacent within your stability or routine. Your gifts and your strengths are really quite profound, but they might sometimes feel spiritually stagnant or uninspired if you don't keep opening up to new emotional experiences, is what I'm getting here. So this is really just a gentle nudge to not close off to fresh inspiration or connection with others. Even if life feels settled or predictable, there are new layers of fulfillment waiting to be noticed. So life isn't all about the Ten of Pentacles. I mean, this is great. But it's about allowing newness to come in as well. And for some of you, I'm getting here a message about allowing yourself to be creative. So I hope you've enjoyed the first part of your reading, pile 2. I'm now going to pause the video because I'm about to shuffle your cards and we're going to look at what your weaknesses are or your shadow side. Okay, so I'll see you in a bit. Okay, beautiful souls. So these cards are representing your weaknesses or your shadow side. Let's let's just get straight into it, shall we? So I'll also be getting you an oracle card at the end, and I also have a word of advice around your weaknesses. So with the Nine of Pentacles, we've got the Nine of Pentacles clarified by the Eight of Swords. So this is really talking about that you're very self-sufficient. But there's also self-limitation with the independence that you have, because you're quite independent people. You're very used to standing on your own 2 feet, but sometimes your independence can kind of become a cage, and you can get very trapped in self-imposed expectations or mental narratives that you have of things like, I have to do this myself, or I can't rely on other people. So this weakness here is talking about you have difficulty in asking people for help or seeing beyond your own perspective. You can appear really self-assured, but internally you can feel really stuck with your overthinking and unable to see a way out of your own comfort zone at times. With the Six of Wands clarified by the Lovers, which is a major arcana, so there's major life lessons to be learnt in this particular weakness as well. You have a lot of trouble releasing or detaching from the past, especially when emotional or moral choices are really involved. So you might struggle to leave behind relationships, beliefs, or situations that once felt really meaningful to you, even when those things have kind of run their course. So the weakness here is in attachment and kind of staying loyal to something out of love or principle, even when it's time to move forward. You can find it really hard to let go because you care so deeply. With the World and the Two of Wands, this is another major arcana which talks about, the World talks about completion. The Two of Wands talks about expansion, new horizons. But when it's talking about this as these coupled as a weakness, this is really talking about this group is really capable of great achievements, as we've kind of seen so far already in your strengths, right? But your weakness lies in hesitation at the kind of threshold of new beginnings, because the World is representing new beginnings, right? So after completing one successful cycle, which is the World, you can get caught in the planning stage, which is the Two of Wands, waiting for the perfect moment instead of just taking the leap. So your weakness here is in fear of change, or, in fear of change, or through over planning, or a reluctance to step out of, an established world that you've already built, which the Ten of Pentacles talked about as well. Your word of advice is the Eight of Wands. So what this is telling me is that this is kind of an antidote to your stillness. So it's time to move and say what needs to be said. Take action on what your heart already knows. So this is this card here is an energy of momentum, clarity, and forward flow. So this is really saying that when you feel stuck or hesitant, the answer isn't to wait for a sign. It's to trust your instincts and move on with the energy that's already building. There's, opportunities align. Can align really, really quickly. And communication, travel can really open doors for this particular group. So the universe is really saying don't overthink things too much, just go. You're ready and everything is already in motion. The only job is to catch the current. So before getting your oracle card, the overall message here for you guys, for the people who chose the Ten of Pentacles, is that you have really mastered stability, loyalty, integrity, but the next evolution for you guys is about momentum, not about maintenance. So you've built this beautiful foundation, and now life wants you to move beyond that, to take bold steps, to communicate your truth, to share your wisdom outwardly with others. So I haven't yet shuffled the oracle cards for you, pile 2, so I'm going to do that now and we'll see what falls out. So your oracle card is see the other person's point of view. So I feel like this is really representative of being open to what others say and others' perspectives on what is going on, rather than just being stuck in this energy of everything is great and wonderful and stable and financially stable in my world. So it doesn't matter what other people say or what other people's point of views are. This is all that matters to me, and what I'm already doing and the trajectory I'm on is all that matters. That's not true, because that's what your weakness really is. So it's really, really important that you're able to see other people's point of view with things, because that can help you to expand beyond just commitment and security and stability. As I said before, this is wonderful, but it can keep you really stuck. It can keep you trapped in your head and stop you from evolving. I'm also going to read the meaning of this from the book for you as well. So it says, you have strong emotions. You can sometimes feel upset or misunderstood or used. This card comes to you as a pathway to peace by asking you to consider others' points of view. You don't need to agree with these other individuals. You're simply asked to understand their motivations and to have compassion for their feelings. This process can positively shift the energy of power struggles, much like letting go of a rope during a tug of war. As you see other people's point of view, you open the door for creative solutions to enter. So yeah, this is really interesting. And the additional meanings say, see yourself through the eyes of any person you desire to know or meet. Let go of defensiveness in your relationships. Look past the surface personality and see the divine within. Forgive past hurts and start anew, which really aligns with the weakness being not being able to let go of the past and make bold decisions to move on, which means also, as we said here as well, letting go of the past. Beautiful. Pile 2, I really, really hope you enjoyed your reading. I hope it's given you clarity and or insight. And I will see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello, Pile 3, or for those of you who chose the Chariot, this is your reading. So this first set of cards is going to be representing your greatest strengths, and then I'm going to pause the video and we're going to have a look at your weaknesses or shadow side. So pulling the Chariot is so emotionally deep yet powerfully directed here. So the Chariot really is about willpower, control, direction, and determination. So this is the ability to move forward through opposing forces. So this can be your greatest strength, but it can also be your greatest weakness, in that I think sometimes you don't know which direction to go, but you still go into a direction quickly, but without really balancing everything up, if that makes, weighing everything up. But let's unpack this reading more and see how it ties in with the Chariot. I'm also getting with the Chariot that a lot of you love taking leaps of faith as well, which is really beautiful. So let's get into it. So we first have the Five of Cups clarified by the High Priestess. So we've got three really big major arcanas here for you. So the Five of Cups clarified by the High Priestess. This is really saying that one of your strengths is one of emotional depth and intuitive growth through pain. So this really shows that you've experienced disappointment and or regret. But the High Priestess clarifies that it reveals that you've learnt to turn grief into wisdom, which is such a powerful thing to do. This pile, do not avoid their emotions. You listen to them and you allow them to teach you deeper truths. So your strength is in your emotional intelligence, empathy, and spiritual awareness, which has come and born from your own inner healing. You can sense kind of what's beneath the surface in yourself and in others, is what I'm also picking up here. With the Seven of Pentacles and the Queen of Cups, this is really talking about emotional perseverance and growth that comes about through taking time and care within yourself and others as well. I don't know if I've articulated that well. What I'm trying to say is that you're someone who knows that growth takes time and care, because the Queen of Cups, man or woman, is very aware of the need for nurturing and love and care and nurturing to feelings and emotions without covering them up. And the Seven of Pentacles is all about watching what the seeds are that you've planted have come to grow, right? So you're good at nurturing things, you're good at nurturing your own growth, and you're also good at nurturing the growth in others as well, and making things kind of come to fruition through your own self-care and love and support, and that of others as well, is what I'm getting here. Yeah, you have this real capacity to love, to nurture, and wait for things to unfold naturally without giving up with these cards here. What a beautiful combination. The World clarified by the Lovers. Okay, the themes here are really like destiny, choice, alignment, and divine timing with these two cards. So this is a powerful combination because it shows that you can trust the timing of life and you make choices from alignment rather than fear. You've kind of learnt that not everything can be controlled, which is a perfect Chariot lesson, and that surrender to fate while staying true to your own values brings the best outcome, because this is about values and choice and union. Your word of advice is the Ten of Pentacles. So the Ten of Pentacles is really a reminder that your emotional and spiritual maturity can create lasting abundance and stability, because the Ten of Pentacles is grounding energy, not just for yourselves, but also others. Your sensitivity and intuition are not weaknesses. They are the foundation for a really rich, fulfilling, connected life. So trust that emotional and spiritual mastery, and that it will, trust that it will lead you to material and long-term success. This is really important. And that you're meant to build something lasting from the lessons that they've learnt. It's like a legacy of the heart. So overall, you guys are really, warriors of the soul. You're strong, you're self-driven, and you feel deeply. And your greatest strength is that you don't let pain stop you. You use it as kind of like a fuel for wisdom, and you balance emotion and action, intuition, will, heart, and head really well. And because you're able to do this, you move forward even when the path isn't clear, which is what the Chariot is all about. You have that hope and faith. Okay, I'm now going to pause the video and I'm going to do the second part of your reading. Hello, here is pile 3. This is your reading for your weaknesses or your shadow side, which will help you to kind of overcome these and hopefully not have to keep learning really difficult lessons which create suffering for you and others. Let's get into it. So this is really interesting because with the Chariot, you sometimes really struggle with control, vulnerability, or balancing logic and feeling, which is really the lesson of the Chariot itself, which is, learning how to steer both opposing lightness and dark, which is heart versus head versus flow, all in harmony. But let's walk through this properly. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So with the Emperor clarified by the Ace of Swords, this is really saying that there's a tendency here for you to lean too heavily into control or logic with the Emperor. And it's interesting how there's the two horses here, like in the traditional rider-waite chariot. There's a black and a white horse, I think, from memory, and there's two horses here, which is very interesting, and you've got the sun and the moon. So yeah, so you sometimes use intellect as authority or as kind of armor, right, as a way of coping or dealing with triggers or trauma that is unprocessed. The Emperor's need for order, when you're pairing it with, the Ace of Swords, which is all about cutting through stuff, getting clarity, cutting through things to get through clarity. This can really make you really over analytical, blunt, or inflexible at times. This is one of your weaknesses or your shadow side. You know, trying to lead or solve everything through the mind rather than allowing emotional intuition to have a say, and rather than just, you know, just feeling things, it's just intellectualizing things. So you can get really stuck in, you know, command mode, which is the emperor, you know, mistaking control for safety, which we can all do when we're not present and aware. The King of Pentacles clarified by the King of Cups. This is interesting because this is the King of Pentacles is all about stability, and the King of Cups is really about sensitivity. So it's kind of like material versus emotional mastery here. So these two cards here are really showing like that you sometimes have an internal kind of tug of war between security and vulnerability. Because the King of Pentacles, man or woman, wants everything really practical, consistent, and grounded, while the King of Cups wants flow, like emotional flow, and to be able to connect deeply. So with these two, this is really saying that your weakness lies in balancing the practical with the emotional. So you could suppress feelings to stay composed, or struggle to kind of integrate both aspects of these. So you can appear stable and calm, but you feel emotionally conflicted or you know, divided inside, which doesn't allow you to be authentic with yourself or others. And that's where that control comes in as well, but that real need to move forward. And your last cards are the Ace of Cups, clarified by the Princess of Cups. So this kind of reveals the heart of your vulnerability, which is fear of emotional exposure. You really, really deeply crave connection and love, but there's hesitancy here because of childhood trauma and wounds that haven't been processed properly. You possibly hold back from expressing what you truly feel, or only allow surface level affection, is what I'm picking up here. So your weakness is emotional inhibition or self-protection. So being afraid to fully feel in case it makes them seem weak or out of control. Your word of advice is the Chariot. And it's perfect because this is your own significant significa, which was the Chariot as well. And you can see how there's the two horses here and the two horses here that we were talking about before. So the advice here is balance your own inner forces. You don't have to choose between heart and control. You can steer with both. So it's also reminding you to reclaim confident movement without slipping into being rigid or emotional suppression. It's about learning that true control comes from alignment, balance, not from domination with the Emperor and trying to control everything through, you know, not feeling your authentic feelings and being your authentic self. So when you allow the emotional depth, which we had before with the High Priestess and the Queen of Cups, to work through your determination, which is the Chariot, you become unstoppable, especially with the Emperor and all the King energy as well, when it's all balanced. Because, you know, as you would already know, your greatest weaknesses can also be turned into your greatest strengths as well, if you're willing to take on that challenge. Your oracle card is Priorities, King Solomon. So this is really talking about prioritizing things that are of importance to you. You know, devoting time to these priorities, even if it means kind of going to bed earlier or later. Even if you're confused about how to approach certain things or projects, or you fear whether you're going to be able to accomplish your dreams, just do it anyway. As you invest in your priorities, you're also investing in yourself. Another message here is let go of procrastination or perfectionism as well. Break your major goals into baby steps and take one step at a time. Be assertive in saying no to anything that diverts you from your path as well. So pile 3, or the Chariot, I really hope you enjoyed your reading as much as I did doing it for you. Please feel very free to leave feedback and comments below. If you'd like to get a personal reading you can do so through finding my details in the description box below. Thank you so much for your ongoing love and support. I'll see you at my next reading. Bye.